David Raya has become one of the best goalkeepers in the world under Arsenal and Arteta after fantastic performances for almost 2 years. Now in this video we're going to talk about how he's developed into this great player and ultimately why Mikel Arteta was right all along. So let's get into it. Now it's easy to forget, but when David Raya first joined Arsenal, a lot of people weren't happy, thinking it was a risk of a signing. Coming in for initial loan with an obligation for £26 million, it was around the same amount of money spent on Aaron Ramsdale, who had cemented himself as the number one at the time. And not only was a lot of Arsenal fans very confused why Arsenal was spending more money on another goalkeeper, but a lot of the media really ran with it. Especially in England, there was a lot of discussion about why Raya was a waste, and a lot of people felt it was a disservice and not fair on Aaron Ramsdale, who a lot of people liked at the time, being very much a fan favourite with his antics on and off the pitch. Now, before all of that, it was no secret that David Raya was a person that Arsenal wanted to sign even before they signed Aaron Ramsdale. There was reports that in 2020, when playing for Brentford in the Championship, he was someone that Mikel Arteta liked. And although they couldn't make that happen and kind of had to pivot to a Ramsdale, when the opportunity arose for a decent amount of fee to get Raya in with his brilliant performances in the Premier League, it probably wasn't that big of a shock that Arsenal decided to spend more money on Raya, and especially with the initial loan than the buy, it really helped financially at the time, which wasn't really seen as a problem. Now, although that we don't have privy to all the information about these players' personal life, we can definitely tell what these people are like somewhat in interviews and how they are in the media. Now, it is quite clear that Ramsdale has made it obvious he does struggle to focus in games. This has been a thing in multiple podcasts which he has spoken about, and although it may be blown out of proportion, I do think that is a factor in why Arteta wanted the sort of David Raya type. You see David Raya in interviews, you see David Raya in the games. He is much more focused and only loud when he needs to be. He doesn't shout for the sake of it, but he is very determined. He is much of a leader back there. And ultimately, I think he keeps the rest of the defence calm. Back in the day when Gabriel used to be a bit erratic, I think you need calmness around him. And ultimately, I think that is one of the big reasons that Arsenal have such a strong defence. There's calmness all the time in the defence, and there's barely any moments of panic, which makes it so easy for players to come in because they have that already cemented in it. And it's no secret, Raya is the epitome of that within this Arsenal team and has been a much of that for Arsenal since he joined. This has definitely been a big reason why Arsenal signed him, but not obviously the only one. And one of the biggest reasons that I think Raya was brought into Arsenal, and it's no secret, was his ability to catch crosses in the air. He's one of the best players in Europe at doing it. He's in the top 3 or 4% in goalkeepers in the top 5 leagues, and nearly every single cross or corner that comes in, he is willing to come out and catch the ball. Not only that, Raya is not really a keeper that likes parrying the ball out a lot. He only does it if he needs to, and he catches the ball as much as he can, which I think really gives Arsenal a lot of pressure, and we're seeing the counter-attacking benefits it gives when he quickly releases it from corners, which get us up the pitch. Now, despite all of these quite obvious things, and Raya had cemented himself as a proper established goalkeeper at Brentford at the time, it wasn't necessarily concrete that he was going to be a success at Arsenal, and I definitely think the first 6 months at his time at Arsenal were very bad. He wasn't necessarily bad in every game. I think he gave a great level. Ultimately, his ability to catch crosses and calmness was there, but there was some problems in terms of shot stopping. If you look at some of his stats in his first year for Arsenal, despite him only playing 24 games overall, which is obviously lower than he's played in a lot of seasons in club football, he had the lowest save percentage he has had since 2018, being only at 68%, and he only made 45 saves in the entire year, which is the least he's had ever in a season for a team. Now, obviously, there's levels to this that Arsenal don't concede as many shots as someone like Brentford and Blackburn are going to, so he's going to have that level, but the shot percentage, I think, is damning. It was showing that he was just not getting the ball, he was not being confident, and some shots were coming in that he should save, and he just wasn't getting there. Now, I think the biggest indication of this was that Luton away game that we played in the winter of that season. Arsenal won 4-3 in the end by a late Declan Rice goal, but the 3 goals we conceded, I think, were all David Raya's fault. He comes out for a corner poorly, doesn't get there, which is very unlike him at the time. He is missing easy saves, you would say, to Ross Barkley, despite Ross Barkley being quite close, and overall it looked like his confidence had been completely shot to pieces in that game, and he's even said that in an interview with Ben Foster, that was the lowest point in his club career career because he just felt like he was at rock bottom. Now, since then, though, David Raya has been one of the epitomes of best goalkeepers in England. He's improved his ability to shot stop dramatically. If you look at his stats from last season and look at his stats from this season, 74% and then now 83%, which is actually the highest he's ever had, although it is a small sample size. And you look at the clean sheets he has got. He won Golden Glove 2 years ago after that Luton game, had a brilliant 6 months. He won Golden Glove joint with Sells last year and is on course to probably be up there this year for contention. Obviously, I think there's a lot down to the unit of Arsenal's defence, not conceding many goals, but last year I think it was definitely down to him. He was one of the major parts in that defence. And when you go through a lot of David Raya's incredible saves that he has done, especially last season for Arsenal, it has become clear that he is elite in shot stopping in the Premier League. And for a goalkeeper that is criticised for his height only being 6 foot, not only is he great from penalties, he's saved a lot of penalties in his time for Arsenal, and the criticism of that before was stupid, but his ability to anticipate and dive early to situations makes him so good at saving incredible shots. And some of the saves he did last season, that Villa save was impeccable, the Atalanta save from the penalty was genuinely incredible, and these things became a norm, and even into this season it has been a norm for him overall. Now, while the shot stopping has definitely improved, and that has been a big level to David Raya's game, the reason why he was brought in as well was to do with his long passing. He's much better at long passing than Ramsdale, I think, overall, and maybe Shaw as well. You look at his stats in this regard for Arsenal. His launch percentage of taking goal kicks and long passes and general just launched balls is a lot less than his time at Brentford. That was his whole system at Brentford, to pass the ball long and get the team in behind, which he's actually had to migrate a little bit for Arsenal, although it is still good. I do think centrally he struggles a little bit more than passing it out wide. But if you look at the passes he is doing overall, they are around about the same as he was doing at Brentford, maybe a little bit less. But this means that with his percentage being less of launches, he is doing a lot more short passing. And I think when he first joined Arsenal, this took some time to get him to understand not only the players around him, but what passes he should make, making a few mistakes. And that just doesn't really seem to be the case. He picks out players brilliantly. I do think he takes a very wide range of risks, which has been something that Arsenal players haven't done enough, and he gets the team on the break and helps us build up from the press. This is why he is one of the back four sometimes in this build up, and it works brilliantly well, and I just think his calmness really helps in these situations. And although the stats back up the impact that David Raya is having, the biggest impact is the amount of goals that Arsenal concede and the amount of chances that really feel like a threat against this team. There is so many times where if they do actually get past that last line of defence, Raya has been comfortable at stepping up for the team. There is many games last season where the team isn't quite playing well, the defence isn't quite there, and even this season where Raya has just stepped up and saved the team. Man United this season, we did not play well. Defensively, I think we got into the game a lot more, but the defence was giving away the ball all the time, and Raya stepped up and made some incredible saves and was calm in the defence that kept us that win in the end. That's one of the biggest abilities we have to win 1-0 away at these sides. And although it's not really a secret that Raya is an incredible player, he came third in Arsenal's Player of the Season awards last year, and I think maybe that's fair enough. I think he's right about there. I think this season, if it continues, he's one of our best players so far, and I do think the criticism that when Arsenal concede it's his fault is stupid. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and you are not going to get a better goalkeeper than him on the market, especially in the ways that Arsenal want to do, i.e. catching crosses all the time and being able to distribute the ball quickly. Not all of that, an elite shot stopper is what every keeper has, and João Garcia was probably the closest, but I think Raya is absolutely fine for now. Now let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please go and watch my video the other day where we speak about Woklz and Havertz and how they can create a formidable partnership. If not, I'll see you in the next one.